In a world carved by mountains and rivers, in a land shaped by empire, war, and faith, stands a monument not to perfection, but to failure, failure that transformed into legend. A tower that leans, not because of human brilliance, but because the earth itself resisted our ambition. This is the Leaning Tower of Pisa. A structure that should have collapsed centuries ago, yet still stands. A monument born from geological ignorance, saved by modern engineering heroism, and watched over by the stubborn courage of those who refused to let it fall. Long before Pisa raised its world-famous tower, the ground beneath it was already plotting its destiny. Tuscany's coast was once a vast floodplain, fed by braided rivers that wandered, shifted, and abandoned sediments for thousands of years. Here, the earth was young, unstable, saturated with water. Beneath Pisa, layers of marine clay, fine sand, and silty mud lay stacked like fragile pages of a forgotten book. It was weak ground, the kind on which no monument should ever be built. But medieval engineers did not yet know the language of the earth. In the 12th century, Pisa was not a quiet tourist town. It was a naval superpower, rich, proud, and determined to show the world the glory of its faith and its victories. The cathedral, the baptistery, and then, their crown jewel, a tower unlike any other. 8 stories of marble. A bell tower reaching toward heaven. Construction began on August 9, 1173. They believed the tower would proclaim their dominion. They had no idea the earth beneath would fight back. After only 5 years, with the 3rd floor completed, something happened. Something subtle. Something ominous. The tower began to sink. Not evenly. Not slowly. But dangerously, as the soft soils beneath one side compressed under the immense weight of marble. The lean had begun. And medieval Pisa panicked. War saved the Leaning Tower of Pisa. As Pisa fought rivals, Florence, Genoa, Lucca, construction stopped for almost a full century. During this long pause, something miraculous occurred. The soil beneath the tower settled. Compressed. Stabilized. What could have been a fatal collapse, turned into an iconic tilt. By the time construction resumed in 1272, Pisa had accepted the lean, and decided to outsmart it. The architects attempted a bold solution. They built the upper floors unevenly, one side taller than the other, to compensate for the tilt. The result is a subtle curve, visible even today. But the earth was not done moving. By the time the tower was completed in 1372, the lean had grown to over 4 degrees. A global icon of flawed brilliance had been born. For 500 years, the tower continued its slow, graceful fall. In the 1800s, scientists began measuring the angle, and the numbers were terrifying. The lean accelerated. The foundation threatened to give way. By the late 20th century, engineers predicted collapse within decades. The world prepared to lose a treasure. In 1990, the Leaning Tower of Pisa reached a tilt of 5.5 degrees, so severe that experts feared it was days, maybe hours, from collapse. The Italian government made a drastic decision. The tower was closed. The bells were removed. Their vibrations could trigger collapse. A global team of scientists, geologists, and engineers was summoned. Saving the tower meant saving a piece of world history. The rescue of the Leaning Tower of Pisa is one of the greatest feats of geotechnical engineering in human history. Here's how they did it. 1. Cables anchored the tower. To prevent sudden collapse, giant steel cables were wrapped around the 3rd level. 2. Counterweights installed. Lead blocks, 600 tons, were placed on the north side to gently push the tower upright. 3. Soil extraction, the genius move. Engineers drilled under the higher side of the tower, removing small amounts of soil. This allowed gravity to slowly settle the tower into a safer position. Millimeter by millimeter, month by month, the tower moved. 4. The final adjustment. After years of work, the tower was straightened by 45 centimeters, enough to stabilize it for centuries to come. In 2001, the tower reopened. A global icon had been saved. The Leaning Tower of Pisa stands today because humanity confronted the earth with respect, not force. The heroes were geologists who mapped ancient river sediments, soil mechanics experts who understood clay compression, engineers who developed never-before-attempted methods, local citizens who protected their cultural identity, global scientists who worked with precision, patience, and courage. This was not simply a structural rescue. It was a battle against time. A battle won by intelligence and persistence. Today, the Leaning Tower of Pisa tilts at 3.97 degrees, safe, stable, and expected to remain standing for at least 200 more years. It is no longer a mistake. It is a masterpiece of geology, architecture, resilience, and human ingenuity. A monument to the idea that even our failures can become beautiful. For over 850 years, the Leaning Tower of Pisa has defied the earth itself. Born from ambition, bent by geology, saved by science, and immortalized by time. It leans, yet it stands. It defies gravity, yet honors the ground that shaped it. It reminds us that even the greatest structures rely on the hidden foundations beneath our feet, and that every disaster avoided is a story of human courage. This is the Leaning Tower of Pisa, the stone that defied the earth.